Hey guys, it's Danny. Today we're gonna look at some orchid blooms. We haven't seen these in quite a while. I actually have been all over the place with my upload schedule. I have actually been a little bit busy and the past couple of months or so I have been thinking about something. I wasn't sure if I was gonna do it, and this morning actually, I have decided I need to do it. I finally need to downsize my collection after 12 years of collecting orchids because this room is just not big enough, to be fully honest. Yes, it can fit all of the orchids, but everybody is just so crammed into each other. It's making it hard for me to actually tell when I have a flower spike or when I have an issue, when I have a pest infestation and so on and so forth. I just noticed so many of my orchids have flowers, but I missed them. They're already fading or they're growing like contorted because I missed them. Not anymore. Not to mention, it takes a long time to bring water from downstairs, from my filters, upstairs, and so on. And you know what? I have enough Phalaenopsis. So I've actually, let's start with that. I've actually decided to seriously cut back on like purchasing orchids. I haven't made a haul, like international haul, in a year and a half at this point. I didn't purchase anything or order anything last year or this year, so that's good, simply because I just want to make sure that I collect the stuff that I really like. Since I'm so constrained with space now, I've become quite obsessed with the space that I have at my disposal, and also my local shoppings. You know me, I like mini Phalaenopsis. I see one I don't have, I buy it. Well, up until now I had a lot of space, to be honest. Now I don't, and I've kind of crammed everybody in one place, and even though, yeah, they look very nice when they're all in bloom, it's not ideal, you guys. I've missed spider mites. I'm looking at them. I'm not going to show you what's behind me. It's a mess. Some of them have spider mites. I missed that because there were like flowers and dried flowers everywhere and flower spikes everywhere. I don't want to have such a crammed collection anymore, and there's no going around it. It's a small room. I need to adapt, and I've kind of had enough of the Phalaenopsis. So Phalaenopsis, severely cutting back on my collection. They're the easiest to grow and the easiest to give away, so that's great. And it just so happens that out of everything, they're not really my favorites. I would much rather keep Cattleyas, such as these ones, that really fill me with joy whenever they bloom, even if they don't bloom as much as Phalaenopsis. You know, there's more to them. There's dimension, there's color, there's fragrance. There is a lot of things for me to appreciate about Cattleyas and other types of orchids than the mini phals. Even though I love them, I really love them. And don't get me wrong, I'm still gonna keep quite a few of them, but not as many for sure. And it's just gonna make my life a little bit easier in caring for them as well, and watering them and so on, and just managing my space better. Second type of orchid I'm cutting a little back on is the orchid that has never bloomed, no matter the variety or species. Either orchids that are, well, we've done this before. I did a video like a few months ago. There are some orchids which I have been just holding on to for years. They're dragging. They're not doing anything, they're not performing. I am getting rid of those as well because it's enough. I've had some for 7 years, no blooms. I'm not gonna keep those. I'm just not. They're not performing. They might have viruses for all I'm concerned, because, you know, some of them are Cattleyas. They should thrive in my environment, and they don't. And I've tried everything. Outdoors, indoors, more sun, different locations, more sun, less sun, and so on. No, I'm just done with them. So there are a few of those that I've been just holding on to, but they've never performed. Those are going away. I don't even want to give them away because not everybody knows how to care for them, not everybody likes them, and I'm not sure if they're sick, pretty much. So I'm gonna get rid of those as well. And pretty much these are the types of orchids that I decided I'm not going to keep anymore or cut back. I don't have enough oncidiums to cut back on or anything else. Also, actually, the third orchid that I'm kind of cutting back on, but I'm not eliminating, is the overgrown type of orchid, which we will have a video soon on. Now, this is the type of orchid that I have for many years. That one is approaching the status. It is bushy, but it has a lot of old growth that is not really producing anything. It only has one direction of growth and a heck of a ton of old growth in the back, just taking up space for no good reason. So it is time to repot anyway some of these orchids, and I will just cut the old portions off of them and just keep 3 pseudobulbs per division, just so I refresh a little bit the orchid as well, and also I gain a little bit more space on my shelves. That's a different thing. I've been doing this for a lot of years because I simply cannot have everybody be a specimen, so we shall do videos on that, but pretty much that is me downsizing. I have not thought this day would come, mainly because, to be frank, a few years ago we were actually planning on building a house and we were designing it with a separate greenhouse in mind. And well, that went down the drain because why wouldn't it? It is how life is. Not every time things go according to plan, right? Anyway, so here I am in this little bedroom running out of space, or actually feeling overwhelmed with all of these orchids being crowded. Okay, going a little bit into private stuff. I have been diagnosed with OCD, which I have been apparently suffering from all my life, but it hasn't always been super bad as it got in the past few years. It just seems that the older I get, the more, I don't know, damaged I get, and stuff from my past come to haunt me. Anyway, and I have become more and more intolerant of many things that annoyed me before, but now they downright stress me out. And clutter and having everything crammed is getting more and more anxiety-inducing for me. It's one of the things that I have really struggled with. I'm good now, don't worry. Lovely modern medicine to the rescue, but it has been quite dark at times, and I know it's nothing to get rid of orchids, but in the grand scheme of things, even crowded orchids started to really bother me, which is so weird, right? Crowded spaces make me feel very claustrophobic. Crammed stuff all together, I don't know, they kind of draw some weird memories or weird states that I cannot handle anymore, or I just want to live without, you know? So even though I will show you on the screen some beautiful images with Phalaenopsis in bloom, they are too crowded. I am not a fan of that in this room. It is a tiny room, and I feel more and more like they're taking me over and they're suffocating me pretty much, which, you know, it's my thing to deal with, but you know, some things I just don't want to deal with anymore. And too many orchids in a small room appears to not agree with me anymore. So hence we shall be downsizing. Wow. So yeah, you know, it's funny because I see a lot of videos on YouTube with people downsizing their plant collection because they didn't realize, you know, they take so much time. They actually do. And not everybody does YouTube for a living. People go to work. So I'm imagining it's even worse. But even I finally got overwhelmed with the amount of orchids that I have. So yeah, that is my little announcement. I am downsizing. I am taking a break, a big break from purchasing orchids, and I'm pressing that break on so much Phalaenopsis, too many Phalaenopsis, you know? I will let others enjoy. So yeah, I'm sorry if any of you are disappointed. I still have a lot of orchids. By all means, I have a ton of orchids, so I will have a lot of stuff to show you. I kind of just need to put myself together, or my life together a little bit, and having non-cluttered rooms helps, and I have to go into this right now. So yeah, I hope I didn't disappoint many of you guys, but there will still be orchids, there will still be blooms, don't worry. And one thing I will not get into is the Tolumnia collection. That does not bother me because they're not big. I hope they will not start to bother me, but I don't have as many. So yeah, sorry about that, but it is how it is, and that is what I'm doing at the moment. I'm cleaning the entire room actually because there's so many orchids I didn't even get to dust the shelves, and again, it feels like I'm suffocating. I see all that dust and I just cannot breathe. So it's weird. So that's what I'm doing. I'm cleaning. That's why my well, part of the reason why my upload schedule has been all over the place. So I'm doing my best to get myself back on track, but yeah, I've been going through something apparently in the past few months, and I apologize for the weird schedule. I'll do my best to get on track as soon as possible. Right, so that's out of the way. Let's look at some blooms, right? We have two lovely orchids here that have just bloomed, and I love them so much. I absolutely adore Cattleyas, and it's easy to see why. This one is BLC Durigan Poseidon. I got her in 2023, which was my last order. Was it? Yeah, it was the last order, international order that I made around this time, July, August, you know, in the summer. It's one of the whole watches, but I'm not entirely sure which one it is. We're gonna have to do some updates on those as well. But again, I'm overwhelmed with how many orchids I have and how much it takes to take care of them. To actually find, I cannot put this tag back. So to actually find the orchids in the hole, you know, I have to like move orchids to get to the ones in the back. It's just horrifying. I simply cannot deal with it anymore. Anyway, so this is a wonderful, beautiful spotted Cattleya, which, you know what, I've not always have been a very big fan of, but now I'm starting to be, because they're just beautiful. Now, fragrance-wise, she's not very fragrant. Let me take a sniff. She does have a bit of a fragrance. I cannot even describe it. It's not something necessarily beautiful, but I wouldn't purchase this orchid for the fragrance, but for how beautiful she is. She has, do we see this? Lots of very dark purple dots on a sort of dark pink background. She really is very, very beautiful, and I've known about this hybrid for a while. I've put off purchasing it for a while because, again, I wasn't very into spotted Cattleyas. But all of a sudden I decided I was, and I purchased it, and I don't regret it. She is absolutely fantastic. She is an easy grower, but I feel like it blooms once a year. I only have her for 2 years, so I cannot really say, but for me it bloomed once a year. Easy bloomer. She has had flowers in the past, and I grow her strictly under the Barinas. She doesn't really get natural light, and she's doing perfect. Flowers are absolutely gorgeous, very well formed, very thick and waxy and a little glossy, very, very beautiful orchid. Now next to her we have one, I do believe, not from the same order because it's a different nursery, but in the same hole era, my last holes. This, oops, why are you running away from me? This is, oh my, I'm not sure what this abbreviation stands for, but I'll put it on the screen. Cattleya Copper Queen Ruby Lip. Again, Copper Queen has been on my wish list for a while, but I kind of put off purchasing it. But I decided to bite the bullet because I really, really enjoy this wonderful lip. It reminds me a little bit of the Francis Fox, but she's slightly different. I've always had these streaks of color on her blooms. She doesn't like give me signs to be worried about viruses or anything. Maybe it's a little bit of stress due to the underwatering side of things. I don't know. But yeah, last time she bloomed, she had these streaks as well. I don't mind them. If this is how the hybrid is, I'm okay with that. Usually streaks on flowers could be a sign of virus, but you have to take it in a bigger picture context. If there's no other reason or sign that your orchid might be virused, I don't believe it's anything to worry about. Mine grows very vigorously. She has no spots on the leaves. She actually has very, very clean leaves, as you can see. This one grows right next to the Durigan, again under the Barina grow lights, and I have no issues reblooming her. She is starting to grow out of her pot, as you can see, arching a little bit towards the light. This has grown like outside of the shelf a little bit, and she's arching a little towards the light. So when I repot her, I will probably cut 3 or 4 pseudobulbs, regenerate a little bit the orchid, and make her tidy again. I cannot remember if this one actually smells at night. I think it does. I think it's a little fragrant in the nighttime, but I wouldn't say as fragrant as a Brassivola would be. Not even as fragrant as the Francis Fox. So, you know, purchase this one because you like the pattern, because the fragrance for me doesn't seem to be very present. I haven't detected anything in the nighttime here, and I come every night to open the windows, turn on the fan, and turn off the AC. It's hot now, so I have to run the AC in the daytime. So yeah, I did not detect anything on this one. Next up, here we have a little orchid that I thought was an Encyclia cordigera because, again, purchased in 2023 in that whole period, my last hauls, Encyclia atropurpurea. I think I mistook it for the Encyclia cordigera variety atropurpureum because this is definitely not the cordigera. It looks similar, but it's very different, and this one is not fragrant at all. Let me take a sniff. No fragrance at all. Wow, slightly disappointed about the no fragrance thing. I really was sure this was a cordigera. Looks like a cordigera, but it is not. So I need to do my research better because, oh boy, I've never seen this one before. I don't know what it is. She is really pretty. I really like the color and the shape. It has this beautiful wild shape that Encyclias usually have, but there is no fragrance. Now, I'm not worried because I actually do have another cordigera which actually has the tag cordigera, so that one will be fragrant. But this one, it was a shock when it first opened because it doesn't look like the cordigera. You know, the cordigera has those curled petals and sepals that kind of curl in the front like a little claw, but this one pulls back. Can we see? So yeah, I have to do some research because apparently this is a totally different species and it's definitely not fragrant. It has the purple lip I was looking for, but it misses the fragrance. So there we have it. Now, I'm not disappointed in it. Ever since I have roses in my garden and they're just so fragrant, I'm okay with non-fragrant orchids, the ones that are beautiful, absolutely. I do absolutely love and enjoy fragrance in orchids, but you know what? I have so much fragrance in my garden that I don't mind. This is just a beautiful orchid as it is, and she's not going anywhere. She's not getting cut. I really like it. But just so you know, if you ever see it for sale, don't mistake it for cordigera variety atropurpureum because apparently it's not. I got fooled. Well, it's my mistake, absolutely. You know. But yeah, just so you know, it's not the same thing. I will be off to researching what this one is exactly and where it's coming from and so on later on tonight. I didn't have time. But yeah, non-fragrant but very beautiful Encyclia. Now for an older orchid which is going nowhere and a fragrant orchid, this is the former Ascophineria peaches. Now I do believe it's just Vanda peaches. It is a hybrid between a Neophoenicia and what used to be an Ascocentrum. I think both of them got reclassified to Vandas, so you never know now. When you get a Vanda, you don't know if it's going to be large, small, how is it going to bloom, is it going to look like a Vanda or like a Neophoenicia? You never know. So I prefer the old names, to be honest, but some nurseries might actually use the new names. So I will specify both of them where I know them, just so you know what you're buying. This is one of the most prolific little Vanda hybrids that I have, or Neophoenicia hybrids that I have. Neos don't really bloom that well for me because I'm a little too warm here in my climate, but combinations or hybrids between Neophoenicias and Vandas are absolutely fantastic and they bloom very nicely for me. And this is my absolute favorite because the color is just so unique. I don't actually have many orchids with this color. I don't know if I have another one that comes, I actually see the Tolumnia gulls now. It looks very similar in color. Hold on, let me bring her. Since she's in bloom again, you will have to excuse the fact that I did not cut the old flower spikes yet and they're spent. But here we are. Am I lying, or are they really similar in color? I think they come close. Now, the Tolumnia gulls is one of my favorites because of this wonderful color. It seems that there aren't many orchids with this shade of pink coral. It's a wonderful, sweet, worm-toned pink. And both of these do have kind of the same vibe to the color. And I will have to say these are the only, I believe, two orchids. Maybe there's one that I'm not remembering now that have this color. I really don't know. Maybe the Cattleya Chief Berry comes close. Yeah, maybe that one too. But other than that, I really don't know if I have any other orchid with this sweet magenta coloration. And even the gulls looks a little bit pinkier than the Vanda Peach. but it has this orange in the center that makes it a little bit sweet, right? So yeah, this is a wonderful color, and absolutely these two orchids are not going anywhere because I love them. And the Vanda or Ascophynidia peaches is also fragrant, and it smells during night, not nighttime, daytime, and it smells like nectar. It smells a little fruity, a little mouth-watering, very, very nice. It blooms only once a year, sadly, which Neophenicias always do. They bloom once a year. Usually in the spring or beginning of summer, around this time of the year. This one blooms for me, and it's always so pretty and easy to grow. Again, grows strictly under lights. I don't have our natural light hitting it, and it's doing absolutely fantastic. So if you're in the market for a Neophenecia hybrid or a small Vanda that you can also pot, you don't have to keep bare rooted or in baskets, although you could if you wanted to. Take a look at the Ascophynidia peaches, aka Vanda peaches. I think it's a very home-friendly orchid because it's kind of small. You can put it on your windowsill. It can even grow under artificial light, very easy to rebloom. It looks very beautiful and it smells gorgeous. If you can get over the fact that it only blooms once a year, then it's the perfect orchid. And the last orchid that I'm going to show you, I just noticed it today that it opened. I have some mealybugs. I just saw them. I need to get rid of them. From time to time, I do have a few mealybugs. They're under control, but see, if I have lots of crowded orchids, I cannot see the mealybugs, so that's a problem. Anyway, this is the BC U-Tongue Star Big Tongue. And this is, again, one of those that I absolutely recommend if you want a reliable bloomer with very big flowers. Now, this one just opened, so you can see the flowers are not fully open just yet, but look at that. They are that beautiful star shape that, you know, they're as big as my palm. They have this wonderful purple lip. The orchid looks very much like a Brassivola, but it has wider leaves. It is a tall orchid. This one will take up a bit of space. But if you want that statement orchid that blooms without fail, this is the one. Now, I think it's also fragrant. Let me see. Okay, in the daytime, I don't think it has fragrance. I even forgot if this one is fragrant or not. I'm gonna check my records and I'll put it on the screen. Now it's not fragrant. I think it's a little bit fragrant in the nighttime, if I'm not mistaken, because it is a Brassivola hybrid. So I'm gonna make sure to put it on the screen because I really don't remember about this one. But I would not necessarily rely on the fact that it's a very powerful fragrance, because it would have remained in my mind if it was like delightful or anything, because I remember these things. So it might have a mild fragrance of something, maybe in the nighttime. If not, you know, just purchase it for how beautiful it looks like. Now, for me, it always puts out 2 flowers. It might be the default. Many of these orchids put out 2, maximum 3 flowers, but 2 is a standard. This orchid is actually not sit back or anything. She is very vigorous and very mature. So, you know, 2 flowers is pretty standard for these orchids. Maybe 3, but in any case, you won't necessarily have that super big cluster of 10, let's say, flowers. It's not a cluster bloomer, which some orchids are. This one is not. But it is really beautiful and reliable in her blooming. I, again, keep her under grow lights. I don't have, like, too many places where I have natural light in this room. The light kind of bounces from the walls. That's a thing. Now in the summer, not so much because the sun is higher in the sky, but in winter, the sun is lower, and indeed it hits the window, and because I have all sorts of white walls and white cabinets behind me, the light actually bounces off the walls, and it's a very bright room indeed. In the summer, not so much. And the brightness comes from the Burinas. So the Burina light also bounces from the walls and makes this room quite bright, but not necessarily from the natural light. And as you can see, I have no issues blooming this orchid. Alrighty, so that said, I think it is time to go because I have a ton of work to do in this room and I'd best get to it. I will shower my little orchids, I will clean the shelves. It's gonna take me a little while, but at the end of everything, I will give you a bit of a tour so you see how my grow space looks like after the severe haircut. And also I will show you a few other houseplants that I've recently kind of gotten into. Don't imagine, they're like 3. But do you remember the rare plants from the COVID era? Yeah, I've never had them because they were very expensive. But now guess what? They're cheap. Well, you know, that's a little personal. They're affordable. They're much more affordable, let's say. So I got myself an anthurium, I got myself an alocasia, and they look pretty. They look very nice. So we're gonna talk a little bit about them at some point, because they're very similar to orchids actually. And who knows, if I have room in this room, I might insert a little anthurium between 2 little cattleyas. Who knows? Who knows? I've always kind of liked those plants, but I didn't like them as much as to pay hundreds, if not thousands of euros for them. I don't even have thousands of euros at my disposal. So yeah, I liked them kinda, but I wouldn't have spend money on them. Now though, they're at the flower shop because they got tissue cultured. Woohoo! So I can get them for the price of an orchid or even less. So yeah, got myself a little anthurium, which did very, very well for me, amazingly enough. So they might appear in the grow room. 1 or 2 little new plants here and there, but we'll see. We'll see how easy those are to grow. But for today, that is about it for the orchids. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, I apologize for my very weird upload schedule, for my lack of videos. I'm going through stuff, I guess. I don't know. I'm a little burned out, to be fully honest, with everything. I'm trying to do like a million things at once, and at some point it kind of overwhelms me. So I'm trying to manage myself and take it less steps at a time, but that's not how I am. I usually do a lot of things. I'm like a workhorse, a powerhouse, pretty much. That's how I work. That's how I am. But it's not working out for me lately. So I need to learn how to take it slow, which is bizarre. But yeah, I'm trying to do that. So that's new. But anyway, I shall now be stopping posting videos. Don't worry, it's just a little weird now. But with that said, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you're all well. Let me know in the comments, how are you guys? How are your orchids? And whatever you want to tell me, leave me your comments down below. And with that said, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye!